Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications, because this story is one you will never forget. What happens when betrayal, grief, and a shocking truth collide in one backyard? Stay with me till the end. You won't believe what I found buried beneath the dirt and what was still alive. My name is Jenna, and I never thought I'd spend a night curled up on my couch with my late husband's dog collar pressed against my chest, sobbing so hard that I couldn't breathe. It feels strange to say late husband out loud. Even now, after almost 10 months without Mark, the words taste wrong, too sharp, too final. His absence still feels like a bad dream I can't wake up from. And the only thing that ever softened the pain, even a little, was Max, our 12-year-old golden retriever with a limp in his back leg and eyes that seemed to understand every emotion I couldn't say aloud. He was more than a dog. He was the last heartbeat of my husband still walking around this world. Which is why the day my sister-in-law, Melissa, told me Max had been put down for his own good, something inside me shattered so violently that I thought I might actually faint. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning, before the betrayal, before the lies, before the moment I found Max alive in my backyard, digging like he was unearthing a ghost. After I lost Mark in the accident, life became a blur of casseroles from neighbors, awkward condolences, and empty rooms that echoed with memories. Melissa, my husband's older sister, moved into my guest room, temporarily, to help me keep the house running, though help wasn't exactly her strong suit. She was one of those women who entered a room and instantly made you feel like you were doing everything wrong. Too emotional, too messy, too slow, too everything. Still, she was family, and part of me wanted to believe she genuinely cared, especially when it came to Max. "Jen, that dog is struggling," she'd say almost every morning while stirring her sugar-free coffee. "He's suffering. You're just dragging things out because you can't let go of Mark." I'd look at Max, tail wagging, muzzle gray, yes, but still happy, still breathing, still alive. "He's not suffering," I'd insist. "He just needs his meds and extra care." "That's denial," she'd say with a sigh that made me feel like she knew better. Looking back now, I realized she had been planting seeds for weeks, maybe longer. One morning, I woke up and Max wasn't scratching at my bedroom door like usual. Normally, he waited for me, paws tapping excitedly because he knew it was breakfast time. But that day, silence. I walked downstairs, heart already tight. "Melissa, have you seen Max?" She didn't look up from her phone. "Oh, yes, about that. I took him to the vet this morning." My stomach twisted. Without telling me? She finally looked up, expression flat, unreadable. "You were sleeping, and Jenna, the vet said he was suffering more than you realized. I authorized the euthanasia." The world stopped. It didn't just slow down, it froze, snapped, and shattered. I don't remember dropping to my knees, but I remember the cold tile against my palms. I remember the sound I made, some awful animal sound that didn't even feel like it came from me. My chest tightened so hard I thought I might black out. You what?" My voice broke into pieces. "It was the humane choice," she insisted. "He was old, in cane." "He was fine," I screamed. "You had no right." Melissa stood, arms crossed defensively, as if she were the one who'd been wronged. "Look, I know you're grieving, but someone had to make the logical decision. You weren't capable of it." I stared at her through tears. "Where is he?" "They'll cremate him," she said lightly. "I already signed the papers." I can't describe the feeling that rose inside me. Rage, betrayal, horror, grief so sharp it made my bones hurt. I stumbled out of the kitchen and collapsed in Max's empty dog bed, curled around the indentation he had left behind. That night, I didn't sleep. I held his old collar, tracing the worn leather with my fingertips, remembering every memory. How he would curl up by Mark's feet, how he'd nudge my hand when I cried, how he'd lay his head in my lap as if promising me I wasn't alone. But now he was gone, stolen from me, murdered behind my back. I spent the next 3 days barely eating, barely speaking. Melissa kept trying to justify herself, but I couldn't look at her without feeling sick. Grief is a storm, and in those days, it was thunder and lightning inside me. On the 4th night, something strange happened. I was washing dishes, trying to keep myself busy just to avoid thinking too deeply, when I heard a thump outside. Not a loud crash, just a soft, rhythmic sound. I froze. The house was quiet, too quiet. The thump came again. Then again. Then I heard scratching. My heart jumped into my throat. I don't know why, but my first instinct was fear. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer and stepped outside onto the deck. The backyard was coated in silver moonlight, the air cold, the grass swaying gently. Thump. Scratch. The sound was coming from near the old oak tree, Mark's favorite place to sit during summer evenings. He had buried a little time capsule there once, a silly thing we made together with notes to our future selves. I hadn't gone near it since he died. But the sound, it was coming from right beside it. I stepped closer, my pulse hammering. The flashlight beam trembled in my hand. And then I saw him. A shape, moving, digging. My breath caught. It wasn't a raccoon. It wasn't a coyote. It was a dog. A golden dog. A golden retriever. Max. Alive. Covered in dirt, but alive. I swear my heart stopped. My hands flew to my mouth and I dropped the flashlight. Max! My voice cracked so hard it hurt. The dog froze, head snapping toward me. His tail thumped once against the ground. Max! I ran, tripped, fell, scrambled toward him. He barked, that familiar deep bark that echoed every memory of our home. He limped toward me, and I threw my arms around him, burying my face in his filthy fur. He smelled like dirt and leaves, and somehow, miraculously, home. "How are you alive?" I whispered, tears streaming down my face. How? How is this possible?" Max whimpered softly, licking my cheek. That's when I saw the wound on his shoulder. Stitched. Freshly stitched. Poorly stitched. Not professionally stitched. Panic surged through me again, but this time it came with anger, burning, electric anger that coursed through every vein. Melissa lied. She never took him to the vet. She never had him put down. She did something else, something far worse. Max whimpered again and nudged my arm, then turned back towards the hole he had been digging. A hole big enough for... I swallowed hard. What was he trying to show me? I gently pulled him back, soothing him with soft strokes. "It's okay, boy. I'm here. I'm here. I swear I'm not losing you again." But as I moved the flashlight across the dirt, I saw something metallic glinting beneath the soil. I brushed the dirt aside. My stomach turned to ice. It was Mark's old watch, the one he was wearing the day he died, a watch the police said they never recovered. And suddenly a thought entered my mind, dark, sharp, terrifying. A thought I didn't want to believe. A thought that made my breath turn shallow. Because if Max was alive, if Melissa lied about euthanasia, and if Mark's missing watch was buried in my backyard, then nothing, not my husband's death, not Max's disappearance, not anything was what I thought it was. Something sinister was happening, something buried, something clawing its way into the light. And Max had brought me to it. I lifted the watch from the dirt, my hands shaking violently. Inside the house, I heard the back door unlock. Then Melissa's voice drifted out into the night. "Jenna, what are you doing out here?" I turned slowly, heart pounding harder than ever. And Max growled. A deep, low growl I had never heard from him before. Melissa stood in the doorway with her arms crossed, the porch light casting a hard glow that sharpened every angle of her face. She looked irritated, like I had interrupted her evening, not like she had just walked in on me clutching a dog she claimed was dead and holding a watch that shouldn't even exist anymore. "Why is Max here?" she asked, her voice tight but trying to sound controlled, almost casual. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat felt locked. Max stayed by my legs, body low, growling at her like she was a stranger, like she was danger. His tail wasn't wagging, his ears flattened, his entire body trembled, not with fear, but with warning. Melissa frowned. "What's wrong with him?" "What did you do?" I whispered. She blanked. "What are you— Don't." My voice came out sharper and louder than I intended. "Don't lie to me. Not anymore." Her jaw clenched. A twitch flickered just under her left eye. "We need to go inside," she said quietly. "Now. You're making a scene." "I'm in my own backyard," I hissed. "In my own home." She sighed loudly, dramatically, like she had the patience of a saint and I was some hysterical child. "Jenna, grief messes with your mind. I've tried to be patient, but you're spiraling. You're imagining terrible things." "Imagining?" I held up the watch. "Then tell me how Max dug up my husband's missing watch from under the tree where you swore you haven't touched a thing." Her face paled. Just for a moment. Barely noticeable. But I saw it. She recovered quickly, shrugging. "Maybe Mark dropped it before he died. You know he used to sit under that tree all the time." "No," I said, shaking my head. "He wore this every single day, even the day of the accident. The police never found it." She opened her mouth, but I kept going, anger flooding through me like fire finally given oxygen after months of suffocation. "And you said Max was dead." My voice cracked. You told me he was gone. You told me you put him down." "I made a judgment call," she snapped. "That dog was suffering." "He wasn't," I cried. "He was old, yes, but he wasn't dying. He wasn't in pain. He wasn't ready to go." For the first time, Melissa's expression shifted, not to guilt, not to fear, but to annoyance. Genuine, simmering annoyance. "You should be thanking me," she said coldly. "I saved you from months of dragging around that smelly, limping burden because you can't accept that Mark is gone." It felt like she slapped me. Max growled louder. I took a shaky step back. "Where did you take him? If you didn't go to a vet, where did you go?" She said nothing. And silence, from Melissa, was louder than any confession. I looked down at Max. He looked up at me, and even in the dark, I could see his pain. His stitches were uneven, red, irritated. Not veterinary work, not clean, not careful. Someone had tried to hurt him. Someone had tried to get rid of him. And that someone was standing right in front of me. I took a deep breath. "I'm calling the police." Melissa's eyes widened, not in shock, but in calculation. "Don't be stupid, Jenna. You have no proof of anything." "I have Max," I said. She smirked. "A senile old dog who wandered off and came back filthy. What exactly do you think the police will believe? That I murdered your dog, buried Mark's watch, and what? Covered up his death too?" Her smirk faltered when she said that last part, because saying it out loud made it real, too real. I stared at her. I never said anything about covering up his death. For the first time since I'd known her, Melissa visibly panicked. Just for a second. Then she straightened. "You're twisting my words." I stepped forward. "Why was Mark's watch buried? Why did Max have to die? What were you so afraid he'd reveal?" Melissa backed up a step. Not a lot, not enough to admit fear, but enough that Max's growl intensified, vibrating through his chest. "Go inside," she said firmly, her voice suddenly trembling under the forced authority. "No," I said. "I'm done letting you control everything." She stepped forward, eyes blazing. "You don't know anything, Jenna. You've never known anything. Mark protected you from so much." She stopped abruptly. The world seemed to freeze around that unfinished sentence. "What did he protect me from?" I whispered. She shook her head quickly. "Forget it. I'm done talking about this." "No," I said again, louder this time. "Tell me." But Melissa turned around and stormed into the house, slamming the door behind her. I stood in the yard for a long moment, clutching the watch, the cold metal burning against my palm. Max pressed against my leg, shaking slightly. I knelt beside him and inspected his shoulder. The cut wasn't natural. It was a straight line, a blade, a knife. Someone had cut him.
Someone who didn't want to spend money on euthanasia or a vet. Someone who wanted him gone, quickly, quietly, cheaply. Someone who wanted the loose ends of Mark's life tied up. Max nuzzled my hand gently, whining. "I won't let her touch you again," I whispered. "I promise." Inside the house, I heard Melissa's footsteps, pacing, fast, sharp, angry. I didn't go inside. Not yet. Instead, I led Max around to the side of the house and into the shed. He curled up on an old blanket without complaint, exhausted but safe. I locked the shed from the outside, to keep him hidden, just until I figured out what to do. Every instinct screamed that Melissa wasn't done. Something about her panicked expression, something about the watch buried under the tree, something about the timing. Max gone the same day the insurance company mailed the final accident report. Too coincidental, too convenient. I went inside slowly, bracing myself. Melissa was standing in the kitchen, phone in hand, her face flushed red. "Who were you calling?" I asked. She locked the screen quickly. "None of your business." "Someone helping you?" I asked. She scowled. "You've lost your mind, Jenna." "Maybe," I said softly, "but I'm starting to think I wasn't the only one grieving." Her expression twisted. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Maybe losing Mark didn't just break me. Maybe it broke you too." A flicker of something, pain maybe, crossed her eyes. Then it hardened instantly into rage. "Don't you dare," she snapped. "You don't know anything about me and Mark." I froze. "What does that mean?" She turned away. "Forget it." "No," I repeated. "Tell me." She slammed a cabinet shut. "I said forget it." I took a breath, kept my voice steady. "Did you love him?" Her eyes snapped to mine. I felt my stomach drop. "You loved him," I whispered, "didn't you?" She said nothing, but silence screamed louder than any confession. "Is that why you hated me?" I continued. "Is that why you moved in? Is that why you wanted Max gone?" Her face twisted. "You think everything is about you? You don't see anything, Jenna. You never did." "Did you kill him?" Melissa recoiled. "How dare you?" "Then tell me what happened," I cried. "Tell me why his watch was buried in the backyard. Tell me why Max came back hurt. Tell me why you lied about the vet. Tell me why you hated me so much." She shook her head furiously. "I didn't kill Mark." "But you know something," I whispered. "Something you're terrified I'll find out." Her breathing quickened. She looked like a cornered animal. Then she abruptly turned and grabbed her purse. "I'm going for a drive." "At 11 o'clock at night?" "Don't wait up," she snapped, and rushed out the front door. The second she was gone, I locked every door and window in the house. Then I walked to the backyard again. Moonlight still washed over the oak tree. The hole Max had dug was shallow, just enough to expose the watch. But something else bothered me. Max wasn't digging randomly. He had been digging carefully, like he smelled something specific, something familiar, something he recognized. I knelt beside the hole. Then I grabbed the shovel leaning against the fence, and I dug. Each scoop of soil felt heavier than the last. My hands shook, my arms burned, my chest tightened. And then, a few inches deeper, something else surfaced. Fabric, a piece of dark cloth. I dug faster. My breath caught. It was Mark's missing jacket. The one he wore the night of the accident. A jacket the police never recovered. My hands trembled violently. Why was his jacket buried here? What else was buried? The flashlight beam trembled as I aimed it deeper into the hole. And that's when I saw it. Flesh-colored, smooth, cold-looking. A hand. A human hand. I fell backward, choking on my own breath, the world spinning violently around me. It wasn't possible. It shouldn't be possible. My husband's body had been cremated, but lying half-buried in my backyard was a hand with a gold wedding band identical to the one I kept on a chain around my neck. The ring, Mark's exact ring, the one he was supposedly wearing when they cremated him. My heart stopped, my vision blurred. My voice trembled out of my throat like a windstorm. Oh my God, Mark? Max whined beside me in the shed, sensing my panic even from a distance. And in that moment, standing over a half-buried hand that shouldn't exist, I knew the truth. Mark never died in that accident. Someone staged everything. Someone buried him in our backyard. And Melissa? Melissa knew. Maybe she wasn't the only one, but she knew. And Max, sweet, loyal Max, had been trying to uncover the truth all along. I stumbled backward, cold horror crawling up my spine. But before I could even think, headlights flashed across the fence. A car pulled into the driveway. Melissa was back, but she wasn't alone. And the person stepping out of the passenger seat made my blood run cold.
The passenger door opened slowly. A figure stepped out into the silver glow of the moonlight, tall, broad-shouldered, moving with a casual ease that made my stomach churn. My mind froze. My heart slammed against my ribs. It was Mark, alive. Every rational thought in my brain screamed, impossible, but my eyes couldn't lie. His jacket, torn, dirty, partially buried in our backyard, matched the man standing in front of me. His face, though sunken and pale, was unmistakable. The same sharp jawline, the same eyes that always knew exactly what I was thinking. The same hair, tousled in the way he did when he was home from work and tired. I dropped the shovel. Dirt clattered onto the grass as my knees gave out. Max leapt into my arms, whining with relief, his tail wagging wildly. I clutched him, shaking, tears streaming down my face. "Mark, it's really you," I whispered. My voice was hoarse, broken, trembling like a leaf in the wind. He looked at me, expression unreadable. Then, slowly, painfully, he nodded. "Jenna, I didn't have a choice." "Didn't have a choice? What do you mean? Everyone thought you—" My voice cracked. "We thought you were dead." Mark ran a hand through his hair, looking anywhere but at me. "I know, I'm sorry. I never wanted to leave you or Max, but I couldn't explain, not yet. You wouldn't have understood." I felt numb, shock, relief, terror, all battling for control. Then why the jacket? Why the hand? The backyard? He hesitated, then spoke slowly. "The accident. It wasn't an accident. They wanted me gone. Melissa," he shook his head, "she's been lying to you for months. But she didn't act alone. There were people involved, people from my work, people who wanted everything I had, insurance, money, information." I swallowed hard, the pieces beginning to fit together like a terrifying puzzle. Melissa, Max nearly dead, Mark killed in a staged accident, and now him standing alive in our backyard. Then Max, he knew, I whispered. My voice broke as I pressed my face into his chest. Max pressed against me too, shaking. "He found you. He brought me to you." Mark wrapped his arms around me, holding me tight. "Yes, that's why I stayed away. I had to be careful. If they found me, it would be over for both of us." I looked up at him, tears blinding me. "Then why now? Why come back?" "Because Melissa got careless," he said grimly. "She thought she had you and Max controlled. I couldn't stay hidden any longer. I had to make sure you were safe, and I had to see you." I turned to Max, holding him in my arms. He licked my tears, nuzzling against my neck. "We almost lost him," I whispered. My voice trembled. "They almost took him from me too." Mark looked at the dug-up hole and the half-buried jacket. His jaw tightened. "I had to leave clues, so you'd find the truth without putting yourself in danger." I stared at him, understanding dawning. Max wasn't just my companion. He had been our protector, our silent guardian, sensing danger when I couldn't. "Melissa," I said finally, my voice hardening. "We need to talk about her." Mark nodded. "She's dangerous, Jenna. She'll do whatever it takes to protect herself. She can't know you found me. Not yet. We need a plan." I felt a surge of anger, raw, burning anger that had been simmering for months. All the lies, the betrayals, the grief, the nights I cried holding a collar instead of a living dog, all pointed at one person. And now, Mark was here, alive, and I had proof that Melissa had crossed lines no sane person should ever cross. But even as the fury rose, I knew we had to be smart. They couldn't know I had Mark. Not yet. Not until we were ready. "First," Mark said, voice low, "we secure Max. Then we find out everything Melissa did.
Then we make her pay. I looked down at Max. He wagged his tail, licking my hands. My chest tightened. "He's been through so much," I said softly. "We can't lose him again." Mark nodded. "We won't, I promise." The night stretched on as we dug deeper into the backyard, uncovering more of Mark's belongings. Letters, old photos, documents he had hidden in the chaos of that staged accident. Each discovery was another piece of the puzzle, another proof of Melissa's manipulations and lies. Hours passed. Finally, as dawn began to creep over the horizon, we sat in the yard surrounded by dirt, memories, and pieces of a life someone had tried to bury. Max lay between us, exhausted but alert. Mark took my hands in his. "Jenna, I should have come back sooner. I should have told you. But I had to protect you. And now we can finally start fixing this, together." I pressed my forehead against his chest, letting the tears fall freely. Relief, grief, anger, and love all collided into a storm of emotions I couldn't control. "I thought I lost you," I whispered. "You didn't," he said softly. "You never lost me. Not really. And you never lost Max either." Max wagged his tail slowly, looking at us. The bond between the three of us, the dog, my husband, and me, felt unbreakable in that moment, stronger than any deception, stronger than any betrayal. But the fight wasn't over. Melissa was still out there, dangerous and unpredictable. Mark's near death, the hidden truths, the lies, it all had to be addressed. Over the next few days, we watched her, carefully documenting her actions, her calls, her meetings. Every lie she told, every manipulation she attempted was recorded. We weren't reckless. We weren't going to let her escape justice. And when the time came, we confronted her, not with anger, but with evidence. Every false statement, every attempt to harm Mark, every cruel act against Max was laid bare. Melissa's face went pale, her composure cracked. She tried to deny, to twist, to escape, but we had proof, and law enforcement was on our side. In the end, Melissa faced consequences for her actions. Max received proper care, his stitches cleaned and treated by a real veterinarian. And Mark? Mark and I were finally able to grieve properly, not for his death, but for the lost time we couldn't have together. Life didn't magically go back to normal, but there was healing. There was trust restored, slowly, day by day. And in the quiet moments, when the sun set over our backyard, Max would lay between us, tail wagging gently, eyes alert and full of love, reminding us that some bonds, no matter what, are unbreakable. I never forgot the terror, the grief, the betrayal. I never forgot the nights I thought Max was gone forever, the moment I found him digging in the dirt, or the shock of seeing Mark alive. But I also never forgot the courage it took to confront the truth, to fight for justice, and to embrace the love and loyalty that had been waiting for me all along. Sometimes, darkest moments reveal the brightest truths: loyalty, love, and hope. And in my backyard, beneath the tree where secrets once lay buried, I realized that no one, not even betrayal, not even lies, could ever take that from me. Max barked softly, nudging my hand. Mark smiled, wrapping an arm around me. And for the first time in months, I felt whole again. Because the past could not erase what was true. Love, loyalty, and family, both human and canine, would always find their way back to the light. And as I watched the sun rise over our backyard, dirt still clinging to our hands, I whispered a silent promise. Never again would betrayal go unchecked, never again would fear silence me, and never again would I let go of what truly mattered. Max wagged his tail, Mark held me close, and I knew we had survived, together. And that was more than enough.